All right, welcome to my Epic Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are multiple mediums on which you can interact with this content, like Rumble, like YouTube, like RSS.com, like there's one other. Well, there's a few others. But anyway, the best place and the one you might want to go to today is the blog. And the blog is parked at myepicbuddies.blogspot.com. And that's a lot to type in or to remember. So wherever you are enjoying this content, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, something of that nature. You click on that, another box is going to open, and a link to the blog, the free blog, will be available to you. You don't have to put your address in, and I'm not selling anything. All right, so then you're there and you can see all the articles and the video in the same place. It makes it easier to follow along because I be jumping around because I forget stuff. Oh, but anyway, I think I have everything there. It's not in any specific order, but I think I have everything in here today that I wanted to have in here. Okay, so it's Friday, September 19th, and should be early enough. What do I always say? If I don't dilly-dally, right? I'm good at that. Too bad I can't get paid for dilly-dallying. Anyway, it should post for today's date of September 19th. All right, so here we go. Well, and as always, I have to remind you, please hit the thumbs up or the like button before you go. But I hope you'll hang around. And then also, if you hang around to the end, a little square pops up if you missed yesterday's. You could click that and it'll take you right into yesterday's episode. All right. Iraq loves Dogecoin. What? Sanctioned nation tops Google searches. So, yep, you heard me. If you're just listening, you heard Dogecoin, that coin. But there's something new. So, sanctioned Iraq flocks to Dogecoin as U.S. ETF debuts. And then it says tired of holding, so that, they interview someone. Look at the picture. Look at this. So is this good Doge and is that dark Doge? Bad Doge? What? Unofficial crypto trading continues in Iraq despite restrictions. And I just love that. See, because you're playing around with their money, which then it in leads to you're playing around with their lives. I need a better living standard. I deserve a better living standard. Here's a way where I can get it. Some of them, right, if they trade crypto. Wow, that was loud. If they trade crypto, which a lot of them do, um, I'm guessing they maybe use a VPN or something. I don't know how they do it with, because it's restricted, but yeah, they do it. So I could get what I want, but you're going to tell me I can't? Oh, no, heck no. I'm learning that and I'm getting what I want. But anyway, while there is a lot of excitement within the crypto community around the launch of the first Dogecoin exchange traded fund, which is abbreviated ETF, in the US, it seems even the global community is feeling the ripple effects of the hype. The internet is constantly hunting for the latest details about the meme coin, with Dogecoin hitting 100 on Google Trends worldwide on September 13th. So this, I think, is dated yesterday. This article, I think, is dated yesterday, and it's on, oh, I don't know the site, but if you go to the blog, the link is there, and the link will take you directly to the site. The Netherlands, Germany, Austria, and Singapore ranked among the top regions by interest. This is understandable, as crypto is pretty popular and allowed to trade in these countries. However, what's surprising is that Iraq, the Middle Eastern country where crypto remains banned, topped the list of countries that are looking up the meme coin on Google. Then it says Iraq and crypto in 2017. Oh, the fan. There. Okay. You shouldn't hear that anymore now. In 2017, Iraq's central bank banned crypto due to risks of money laundering. Like we're the ones laundering money. Okay? How about you go to your politicians and your elites? How about you go get them for money laundering? That just irks me. We're just trying to make a living. We're not trying to money launder. Anyway, it also announced in December 2024 that it would not grant licenses to companies trading in cryptocurrency, stocks, metals, etc., as per a local media report. However, unofficial cryptocurrency trading continues in Iraq despite restrictions. Everyone here knows trading crypto is banned, but people still do it quietly. Dogecoin feels like the coin of the people, cheap, fun, and now with an ETF in America, the price will rally. I'm planning to buy some, even if it's just a small amount. So that was supposedly Ali H, a Baghdad-based trader. And then here's another one. I can't use my real name because of the restrictions, but the truth is, people in Iraq are tired of holding just dinars. Inflation hurts. Dogecoin may be a meme, but with this ETF, it shows the world will take it seriously. That's why I want to buy. And that is an Iraqi crypto trader who asked not to be named. So yeah, so that was mostly what I wanted to read to you. There's more. They even talk about Bloomberg talking about the ETF, some of their analysts talking about it. But yeah, so I'm happy. I'm happy that they're doing what they have to do to survive, possibly thrive. I just hope they remain safe, you know? All right. So this is my favorite article. This is what I wanted to make the star article, but I know nobody would have clicked on it. But it says government advisor, economic reforms have put Iraq on a new path to growth and stability. Yes, I know, we've heard that before, but this is a new advisor. He's a doctor, so you know it's long. And look, this version is long, but there was even a longer one, but I put the shorter one here, okay? So, I'm not sure where he was speaking. Where was he speaking? Well, he affirmed on Friday that the economic reforms adopted by the government have placed Iraq on a new path of growth and stability, while explaining that the country is steadily moving toward a more diversified and resilient economy that places people at the heart of development. Yeah, right. Well, thank you for saying it. Hope you mean it, right? He noted that the Development Road Project and Fall Port are symbols of an economic future that connects Iraq to the world. So he just says he was speaking to the news, but the image has him looking like he gave a speech somewhere, right? He's at a podium. So who knows? Iraq stands today at a historic crossroads after its foreign and gold reserves increased and its investment in infrastructure projects expanded on a path that establishes a more diversified and resilient economy that places people at the heart of development. He explained the Iraqi economy is not just numbers in the budget or data issued by financial institutions. Rather, it is the story and not of a lovely lady. The Bradys have ruined me forever. The Brady Bunch. Anytime I hear something like that, the story, I hear the song in my head. Anyway, rather, it is the story of a country that has suffered for decades from successive crises that have left their mark on people's lives and daily livelihoods. So then he goes back to the 80s, okay? He goes back to the 1980s. Then he comes to 2003. Despite the significant opening to international markets, a significant portion of the banks remained little more than fronts for selling currency. They might as well just say stealing, smuggling, giving away, but they had the appearance of selling currency through the central bank window, unable to practice modern banking. Meanwhile, public companies remained a heavy burden on the budget, without a productive return commensurate with the resources they consumed. This bleak picture is accompanied by other problems, most notably high unemployment, poverty rates, weak productive sectors, heavy bureaucracy, and corruption that has drained the state's resources. So then he says, but Sudani came with his government program, with a set of central priorities, with economic reform at the forefront, along with reforming the banking system, activating electronic payments, completing the unified treasury, improving the business environment, reforming the tax and customs systems, and we could go. That's just a very small portion of what Sudani's been able to do, right? Thus, Iraq began to prepare for a new phase after the government realized that continuing with the old approach was no longer a viable option. So, yeah, everything in here that he says is good. He just describes everything they've done. It's all very positive. I don't think he talks about a rentier economy, but he's really honing in on the comprehensive reform process that's begun. Financial reform represented the other side of the process of institutional restructuring. He talks about the 3-year budget. Okay, just good, really good. So yeah, so I had to put that in there. Plus, we don't hear from this guy too much, and maybe this is why, because he writes really long articles. But in parallel, the restructuring of Ramadan and Rashid banks began with international support, transforming the banks from mere currency brokers into modern financial institutions. The U.S. Treasury even described this step as a historic achievement. He pointed out that from the womb of these banking transformations emerged the electronic payment experiment. I hope it is an experiment. I hope they don't go cashless, which quickly became the most prominent title of reform. So yeah, so there's more, but guess what? I'm going to go ahead and move on because not everyone geeks out on these type, but if you're someone that does, it's here. It's there for you. All right, so look at this. U.S. President announces he will host the Turkish president at the White House next week. Like, what? How are you going to bring him and not Sudani, right? But so maybe this will give hope. But look, so it's the next week. So his visit's going to be on the outskirts of the UN General Assembly meetings in New York. So maybe this time they'll let Sudani come. Okay, that would be nice. So there's another chance for Sudani to come to America and be taken care of, be shown respect, right, and dealt with like a world leader should be. I mean, not that I care. Don't take it like because like I said, we can't get attached to these people because we don't know these people. And even though he's been allowed, he's been allowed to do all this stuff and move Iraq forward, he could be just as dirty as anybody else, right? But I still think it's jacked up that anyway, I'll just leave that alone. But anyway, yeah, so the 25th is definitely Erdogan will be here and he'll meet with Trump. But on the other hand, Turkey did announce they're going to release water. They're going to release some more water as part of that deal that they had. So I'm thinking there must be some forward movement in the agreements. If Turkey, they must have gotten something they wanted if they're agreeing to release the water, right? Okay, so this is the one I wanted to show you yesterday. Sudani conducts the first official electronic signature in Iraq. So there he is. And see, he's got a stylus in his hand right there. And he's writing on a laptop. So he did the first one. The second one was done by the Minister of Communications. They did the first two official electronic signatures. So there it is. They claim, it reduces corruption and all of that, but where there's a will, there's a way, isn't it? All right, so there was also some good, well, there was another meeting, which I didn't know, but it seems there was another meeting regarding the oil and the non-oil revenue. So now they're saying they're going to have things signed in 48 hours. Kurdistan oil export agreement will be signed in the next 48 hours. And so I put this here. This was the most recent article that I could find out of Kurdistan. So it was posted 10:12 p.m. Cali time. So the oil ministry is scheduled to hold a meeting on Sunday. That would be 48 hours, right? So we'll see. You can read the rest of that if you want, but who cares what it says if they don't sign it, right? So I'll be looking for that on Sunday. In between football games, right? All right. So then this is the tripartite agreement, which is Kurdistan, the federal government, and oil companies. So they got rid of SOMO, remember? And it just says oil companies, indicating the agreement is scheduled to be signed next week and enter into force in the coming days. So if Sunday goes well, then this should go well too. All right, so that's good. All right, here's my one commercial. If you'd like to support my FX buddies, there's the way to do it. If this will be a live blog, the Buy Me a Coffee link will be live. Cash App is always live. And PayPal is also big or small. I appreciate it all. And I thank you in advance for your generosity. Ding. All right. So here is probably the only, well, I'm going to say bad news, but I think this might be a good thing. Washington refuses to allow Turkmen gas to reach Iraq because it is indirect support for Iran. And I think I may have touched on this yesterday because they started talking about it yesterday, but it's definitely, they are not approving it. So, yep. This means that moving forward with the agreement without U.S. approval would result in sanctions being imposed on Iraqi banks and financial institutions. So, they're like, try it if you want. If we find out all that progress you just made with your banks, yeah, we'll reverse it. But so they have to find an alternative, right? So look, they can barter. Iraq will pay Turkmenistan for the gas, but will not receive it indirectly. It will be pumped to northern Iran in exchange for Iran supplying Iraq with similar quantities of its own domestic gas. So I think this has something to do with the gas they use to make electricity, not the other kind. What do? They make electricity, and then there's something else they do. Not byproducts. There's another word, but the word that I can only think of is byproducts. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. This is really interesting. And another dig at cryptocurrency, maybe? Why we Bitcoin? Vietnam closes 86 million bank accounts that fail biometrics. Vietnam is reportedly closing 86 million bank accounts. Crypto advocates see it as the latest reason everyone should hold Bitcoin. Sorry, you got your money held up, but you should have had Bitcoin. I'm like, dang, that's jacked up. Bitcoin advocates are jumping up and down again after reports that Vietnam has closed 86 million bank accounts that failed to comply with a facial biometric authentication mandate. So then you have to look at, well, why didn't they? Were these fraudulent accounts? Were these like, not robot, but ghost accounts? Accounts that were double, right? Or people that just don't want to get their face scanned. But this is what happens when you go digital, right? And people are so gun ho. Oh, America's so behind. Our systems are what's the word? Not mortified. Outdated, but there's another word people use for outdated. But look, so yeah, one day you had money, the next day you don't because you didn't scan your face. Like right now, I can't get in my Uphold account. I mean, I can, but I need to show my face. I need to do the update, right? So, but I figure if I get in there, I might spend that money anyway. So I'm just gonna leave it. All right, let's see. So they started doing it on September 1st. But, and is this a large percentage? I don't know. Does Vietnam, how many millions of people does Vietnam have? If it's a lot. Oh, wait. Okay. While the remaining 113 million bank accounts were verified. Okay, you smart people. So I guess you would add 113 and 86. Then you could get the percentage of 86 million from that number. All right. Go ahead. Let me know what percentage that is, if in fact that is the total number of bank accounts. All right. So yeah, that's jacked up. And so they're like, they can just do that. They can just shut your money off. Does that sound crazy to anyone else in 2025? You cannot transfer your money and have to fly into a country in person to resolve an issue? Yeah, so see, they may be out of the country. On top of it all, they said they will close my account this month if I don't fly in and update the biometrics. This is why we Bitcoin. And then it goes into that. So they have to comply. Ooh, I hate that word. I do not like that word. Do not comply. But they have to, because even if they just want to get their money out, they have to get scanned. I would get scanned and take my money out if they can, right? Who knows? But yeah, so this article is on this site right here, Cointelegraph. So if you come to the blog, it says, "Thank you, State Bank of Vietnam, for the free Bitcoin marketing." But I think it's at the bottom. Is this the last? If it's not the last article, it's the second to the last. But yeah, see, they tell us they want banking biometrics to fight fraud. And oh, that's a related story. Oh no, there's one more. This is pretty cool. That's why I said we have some fun stuff. We got some Doge, some Bitcoin, and then look at this. ROX, Rocks, Motors, Silk Road Tour reaches Iraq. So I've read this a few times. I'm not sure why these cars are being marketed this way because it seems you can also own the car. Well, it's an SUV. Very nice looking SUV also. See that? I don't really like girls of cars like that, but I know that is a uh, well designed intricate. That's not just the regular standard grill, right? So I think these are Chinese cars, and I think they're electric also. But they're going around and they use these cars in different places, and they expect to go worldwide by 2030. So, yep, you'll be able to, or they did, as a pivotal stage in this global journey. The convoy traced Iraq's historic routes through Mosul, Erbil, and Baghdad, combining extensive test drives with cultural exchanges that underscore Rox Motor's mission to connect history with modern innovation and foster cross-regional dialogue. So there's a whole lot of stuff mixed up in this, right? But it is the Rox 1 luxury all-terrain SUV demonstrated exceptional performance across plains, mountain passes, and urban roads. Powered by REEV, or REEV, dual energy technology, the model integrates fuel and electricity with an intelligent AWD system and 5 driving modes, delivering versatile, efficient, and reliable mobility tailored to the needs of Iraqi users. You like my announcement? Come on, Iraq, hire me to do the commercial for you. All right. So they have a showroom, and I have to admit they look pretty nice. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so if you want to check that out, of course, you would have to go to the blog. But like I always say, there's lots of people who want to hear about the articles but don't want to read them. But if you want to see this particular one, you would just go to the blog and scroll all the way down, and then say you're interested in getting one of these vehicles. The website is right there to reach them. But I don't think they're here in America, though. But once you're rich, you can buy a car and get it shipped anywhere you want, right? All right, so oh, wait, no. There's 2 more things. Okay, this, I didn't post this because I can't get it to look. I like how it looks like it's on a piece of paper, you know? But this is so weird, okay? So it says 2025 Fiscal Transparency Report, and then it says Iraq. So I'm guessing they did other reports on other countries. This is from the U.S. Treasury. Wait, Department of State. I thought it said Treasury somewhere. But U.S. Department of State. So if you want to go backwards, right, you can go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this heading, the 2025 Fiscal Transparency Report, and put that right before those cars, the cars or SUVs that I just talked about. I'll put that there if you want to come see it for yourself. So what time is it? 28 minutes. Okay. During the review period, the government made its executive budget proposal and end-of-year budget publicly available within a reasonable period. Did they? I don't think they did. So if you read this, I'm like, are you sure they wrote this about Iraq? Are you sure it's 2025? It says budget documents were comparable year to year. The government did not prepare the budget according to internationally accepted principles. I'm like, okay, yeah, now they're talking about Iraq. The Supreme Audit institution did not meet international standards of independence, including verifying the government's annual financial statements and effectively followed up on findings, but published reports contained substantive findings, recommendations, and narratives. So it's just 1 page, and then they have some bullet points here of what Iraq could do to improve fiscal transparency. It says nothing about the rate. nothing about, changing the rate. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. And like I said, I couldn't make it look like the page. Okay, and then one more. This is, whew, that is bright, isn't it? Mm. Iraq's balancing act between Washington and Tehran. So, oh, I can't show that. All right, so this is, it really is very supportive for Sudani in the rock and the hard place that he's in, and how he has to do a delicate dance between his neighbor, his brothers, right? Cousins, whatever they are to them, and us. So I'm not going to post it, but because see this right here, it was giving me a problem. And my technology skills are just so good, right? But if you want to read it, and it's not that long either, but it just has buzzwords that, but they even talk about herbal, aligning with herbal. So interesting for those who'd like to read that. I will put a link to it also. All right, I'm going to stop there. All right, so thank you, thank you. Enjoy your weekend. I do think I'll post at least once, probably Sunday, if not Saturday and Sunday, right? If there's news worthy of a post. Again, oh, if you'd like to subscribe, look in the lower right-hand corner if you're on YouTube, and there's a little icon there. You could click that and it will let you subscribe. It's free. And then if you hit the thumbs up, that's free also. All right, but it does a world of good for the channel. So thank you. Yeah, enjoy your weekend. I already said that. I know. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. That's it. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content. And until next time.